Guys, we have Abigail here. Abigail, thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited. And yeah, we're gonna kind of dive into our interview all about retreats. I get a lot of frequently asked questions, so you are on the hook to answer those today. And before we jump in, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone that's joining now or on the replay? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Abigail, obviously. I'm the owner of Abigail Rose Gallery, and I am a wedding photographer out of Colorado. I just recently went full time back in March, and I've been photographing weddings for almost 4 years now, and I have known Esther for a little over 3 years now. And she's
Man,
been my coach 3 times now.
time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yes.
This is crazy. I am super stoked. I love doing these interviews. I feel like I know your story inside and out, and I still get amped up the same amount
Yeah, you
every
do.
time. Yeah, I probably know it just as well as you do yourself. So
If not better, honestly, at this point.
I love it. I love it. I am super excited today. We're going to be getting into all the juicy details of retreat stuff, of just different pieces. I think that sometimes people don't really understand. I think it's awesome to get your perspective since you just recently went full time. I think retreats is oftentimes taking a bit of a leap of faith. So
Mhm.
we're gonna dive in. You have not seen these questions, correct?
No, I have not.
No. So you're gonna be in for a treat. I'm excited. So we're gonna keep things just kind of rolling along. If I want you to kind of, maybe you answer something and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I noticed, that you mentioned this. Can you expand on this part and whatnot?
Yep.
But I'm excited. So, first and foremost, I would love to hear from you. What kind of initially inspired you to attend a Boss Babe retreat in the first place? I think your first one was 2022. So what kind of sparked that in the first place?
So, sorry, are you counting grouse?
What's that?
Are you counting grouse?
No,
Because
let's not
technically the first
count.
boss day was 23.
Okay, right. So yeah, let's not count shootouts. Let's maybe go with retreat. So 2023 then. What kind of initially like inspired you to join?
I mean, it was a, like you said, big leap of faith in doing so because I had honestly never been to a retreat before, so I didn't really know what to expect with that. And I was kind of still very new, like into my business at the time, still trying to like get into weddings and everything.
So what like
But with that, I just saw like, all the marketing you were doing for it and everything.
Mhm.
And I had already like really, really loved like the experience
So
that I had
very
gotten
like
from you as a coach.
at the
And with that, like I knew, there was like your retreat like wasn't going to disappoint because I felt like I already personally knew you. We already had a friendship going and everything. So I was like, you know what, it might be a little bit of like a step of faith right here that it's actually going to be a good experience, but I'm willing to bet on the odds here because I feel like it's going to be a really good experience.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. How does it differ from just like a fancy girls trip or vacation? Like how does it differ from that?
I mean that's a very hard one to answer.
Yeah.
But you personally put so much time, work, and effort into making sure every aspect goes as smoothly as possible, all the way down to the attendees that are there, in terms of doing like a little like vetting process to make sure everyone is going to be a good fit and it's only going to be like positive vibes and everything like that. And that in and of itself is what makes it such an incredible experience. And honestly, like why I'm probably a little spoiled, and honestly, I'm a little scared to go to anyone else's retreat besides yours.
I love that. It's so funny. I was literally talking to Desiree this morning. For those that don't know, Desiree is my assistant and a very good friend of mine, and actually related to me too, which is super cool. But anyway, that's a sidetrack. So Desiree was saying when I told her that like you're a very loyal retreat client, I said, Quinn, by time next year rolls around, I believe she'll be close to 10, which is like crazy. Um, and so I
Same.
was explaining to her like about, that a retreat because it's very experience based, it does seem like people want to come back. And she goes, well, if I was one of them, I wouldn't want to go somewhere else. If I find an experience that
Mhm.
I love, she's like, why would you take the risk and invest in a different one that you could get burned? And I was like,
Yeah.
hey.
I mean that's exactly how I feel about it, honestly. Like and like I said, I've been so spoiled by you for like the last 3 years now. And I just don't want to, spend several $1,000s because a retreat is a pretty good investment, and potentially have the risk of that was an absolutely terrible experience. And I never want to do that again. Like that's not what I want from that.
No, totally. And you're right. It's a huge investment. Why would you take a risk if you're like, you know what? I found something I love. I'm gonna roll with that. So
Exactly. Hmm.
totally. So, for someone who's never been to a retreat before, which I know there's a lot of people out there that just maybe don't understand what's the point to go to one, or they're just kind of uncertain of, is this for me? What would you say? What kind of transformations could somebody expect personally or professionally when they go to a retreat for the first time?
I mean, one, obviously like portfolio. Your portfolio is going to be, popping off compared to a lot of other photographers after attending a retreat, especially, one that you put together because you do put so much time and effort into it. Me personally, I've had so many people whenever they inquire, like when I ask them, like, what made you want to inquire? And they're like, your photos from Canada. Like, I absolutely love those. And I'm just like, okay, like obviously that's paying off now.
100%.
Like in general, like other than that, just, being able to connect with other photographers and just overall having that community because a, a lot of other retreats that you quote bet on and see if it's going to be a good experience or not. Sometimes that community, it's not really there. It's not how it should be. And one bad person, in like the whole bunch, ruins everything. So just knowing that you do that vetting process like prior, that knows it gives you the confidence that you're being set up for like a solid experience.
100%. I literally was messaging Cody Lynn and she had said, "Hey, I just want to say like it was the most welcoming group of ladies ever. Like she's going to be coming back to one of my retreats and she's like, "Can I ask like who's coming?" It was like such amazing ladies and they were so welcoming and warm and I just said like that is so awesome to hear. That's exactly what a host wants to
Mhm.
hear is that people actually want to return because of the
Yeah.
community aspect. That's huge.
I mean, literally in, I think it was in 23. I don't remember who it was that you had asked, maybe you didn't even ask them, but at the Boss Babe retreat, the first one you ever did,
Mhm.
someone said that it seemed like, the entire group of girls that were there, it seemed like we had known each other since like elementary school. And for most of us, it was the first time we had met.
Yeah, which is so crazy. It was the manager at Fraser River Lodge that said
Okay.
that, which is just crazy because she had no clue. We're like, oh yeah, it's our pre-K reunion, kind of vibe. But I do have to back up, Abigail. You mentioned something
Yeah.
really interesting. You said so are you actually getting bookings from the content that you are posting from these retreats? That you're paying for these retreats and
Hmm.
people now are inquiring are saying, "Hey, we love these photos from Canada. We saw on your portfolio, your website, Instagram, whatever." Can you tell us a bit more about that? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I especially recently, I have definitely been getting a lot of people like on my discovery calls being, when I ask them, what is it that stood out to you that made you want to reach out and hop on this call? And they literally just looked at me and they're like, your photos from Canada, like they were amazing. And I felt like I could actually like see myself like in those photos because I could feel the emotion like happening in those photos.
Love that. That's amazing. That's the thing. The type of models I pick, I try to pick ones that have real connection and real chemistry because, at the end of the day, I personally think models can make or break an entire shoot. Your outfits can be fire, your location can be fire, lighting, everything. And if the models are not really, they don't have a strong connection, you're
Mhm.
literally hooped, which, is unfortunate,
Yeah.
but that's just how it is. So that's super cool to hear.
Yep.
Love it. Sweet. So that kind of covers what I was curious on is sometimes I think there can be a little bit of confusion, and I completely agree with you. I have only gotten travel weddings because I post travel content from
Mhm.
different retreats I've personally invested in. So
Yeah.
awesome to hear that's working the same for you. Okay, so I'm kind of curious because obviously when you attend a retreat, it's
Mhm.
a huge investment in, actual finances, but not only that, arguably more important, which I would say is taking your time to actually fly out somewhere, go to it. How do you justify that as a busy female entrepreneur?
I mean, that's a hard one. I would personally say that like it's more than worth it. It's obviously time out of my schedule and everything, but at the same time, it's putting like it's allowing myself to basically grow like my client experience and everything because there are so many different things that I'm going to learn from, for example, obviously one of your retreats in terms of like how you guide, your couples like with posing and everything. Like the education that you bring like at your retreats and everything. Like it's so many different aspects that are like all coming together and overall like as a whole they're helping you build your business as an entrepreneur and as a wedding photographer. And with that, you can take that and run with it and basically sky's the limit, Like doesn't like you can learn all that, but what it comes down to like after that is the fact of how much of that like are you actually like applying to your business? Because you can go to a retreat and everything and you can have all these photos and you can have the knowledge, but are you actually gonna take the time to put it back into your business? Because if you don't, then it was pretty much a waste. But if you actually put the work in, then you're gonna see the results from it.
Totally, totally. So you see it more as oh, I'm not really taking time or money away from my business. It's like I'm investing into myself and the
Yeah.
growth that I know I'll see.
Yeah, and that is one of the absolute best things you can do for investment, like into yourself personally and also like into your business as well. Because I mean, if it wasn't for that, honestly, like I literally wouldn't be sitting here with you on this call right now. So
Totally. So would you say it speeds up your success if you attend a retreat?
oh yeah, because you're walking away with knowledge that you didn't have before in so many different aspects because not only do you always do like an education portion, you typically bring in I think two other people as well who I think one is usually a wedding photographer and then one is something more just like with social media and everything. And that, I mean, that alone, that's bringing in people who have knowledge and experience in a little bit different areas. And overall, like it adds to the value of like the retreat itself.
Totally, totally. And do you think the content itself, does that typically like elevate your portfolio to attract the type of client you're looking for? What does that do to your portfolio for clients that are interested in your services for wedding photography?
I mean, I would definitely say it adds to it because me personally, when I first started coming out and everything back in 23, obviously I was still living in Florida. And then when I came out for the next one shortly after that, literally I think it was like 2 months later, almost exactly to the day when I got home, I ended up moving to Colorado. And because of that, I already kind of had my foot in the door with like having a Colorado-ish mountain portfolio that I wouldn't have had before.
Totally, which is so huge. I think showing you can capture in the mountain environment really widens not only to Colorado, but obviously to a lot of other states that are very
Yeah.
mountain prominent
Mhm.
can see like, oh, she knows how to work with light with mountains and, have that amazing backdrop. So that's super cool to
Yeah.
hear. Love it. Love it. Would you be willing to share a moment from a past retreat that you would say changed your perspective or empowered you in a new way you didn't even realize was possible? So, obviously you've been to a lot of retreats, so you can
Mhm.
pick yeah, any kind of story or moment, something like that that you think changed your perspective or empowered you in a new way.
I mean, like, does it have to be like one specific moment?
I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking, but really it could be anything that comes to mind. I'm pretty open here.
Okay. Because I mean, honestly, what like comes to mind like right off the bat is just continuously, coming back for each one of your retreats and each year kind of just like looking back at each one and realizing I have honestly like come so far, one personally and two like in my business since I first started coming back or since I first started attending your retreats. And it just motivates me and empowers me to like, push forward and just continue like achieving great things that you have taught me so well how to do.
Mm. Do you think it's affected your confidence at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I'm sure you remember when you first met me, like I probably almost had like no confidence whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's obviously a few factors to that, but I have noticed each year that you've come back. So obviously met you in person the first time
Mhm.
2022. And then each year up until 2025, it's just like crazy. I think keeps getting more, but definitely like you were very much like in your shell, kind of just like, hopefully no one looks at me or, things like that. And now it's like you're like way on the other side. That I just
Mhm.
noticed like a big shift in that. So I was curious your
Yeah.
thoughts on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm honestly like so blown away by that because obviously like it doesn't just, affect, how I am like at retreats, like at your retreats, affects like how I show up in my business like on a daily basis, like how I'm able to talk to my clients and, figure out like the best timeline for them and everything. And overall, it affects like how I'm able to even better like show up on social media as well because I know when I first met you, like I could not like do a like face to face, like talking to the camera. Like it was the last thing that I would ever do. And now I actually enjoy it and I don't mind it. Granted, they don't always do the best, but I actually enjoy doing it and I have the confidence to do it. Like I'm not scared to do that anymore like I was to begin with.
Totally. That's so cool to hear. I love hearing the transformations. So appreciate you sharing that. That's amazing. I think one thing I am curious on is to give a bit of kind of insight, I think, is I'm sure there's photographers watching this. So typically in the photography world, I have found at least it is very much competition over community is very prominent. Even the people that say, "Oh, community," they're still cutthroat and they want you to fail.
Mhm.
Which is tough. I struggle with that in many aspects of just like don't understand it. But it's a very prominent thing in the photography industry. So I'm curious, what kind of community do you experience at these retreats, and why do you think if I can say like sisterhood vibe is such an important piece of this experience?
It's such an important piece of the experience because, like, I mean, it is very much so 100% community over competition every single time, like, without fail. And with that, you're able to work together like a lot better with everyone and just be a lot more like in a quote sharing mode instead of like no like this is like my shot and I don't want like anyone else to get it because that can be a very easy way to ruin an experience for someone at a retreat. And so having everyone in the mindset of I want to make sure, everyone walks away with like basically the exact same content that I'm getting here, even if
Mhm.
it's, obviously it's not gonna be exactly the same because different cameras, different angles and whatnot, but overall, like having everyone in that mindset of, we are all here together, like we're not like trying to like fight against each other for one thing here, just really adds to and elevates like the experience that everyone is walking away with.
Totally. I love that. I think that's so important that everyone has that mindset because like you said, you've mentioned this, is that I do like to be careful who comes to my retreats because the community and the experience factors are so, so important to me that it's like, hey, I need to make sure everyone has a fantastic time and that there's no rotten egg in the mix, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah,
We don't want any of that. So
I
that's
know.
super cool
And
to
you've been doing an amazing job at that for the last 3 years, almost 4 years now. So
thank you.
you're welcome.
I try, I try. Um, so I'm curious, how would you say? stepping out of your everyday environment. So obviously with a retreat, how it typically works is people are coming from out of town, you're literally like plucked from your normal everyday environment and routine, and you're put into this new environment, new people, new space, new routine. There is no routine. You're just following the
Yeah.
itinerary of whatever I've planned.
Mhm.
How would you say that helps you unlock some creativity, some clarity that maybe you wouldn't be able to do in just everyday regular life?
Yeah, I mean like being just, having like different scenery, like as cliche as that might sound, like being putting yourself like in a different environment from what you normally are in every single day, like on a daily basis. It just there's something about it that without fail every single time it just allows you to kind of like let loose a little bit and maybe like consider and think about things that you wouldn't normally think of because you're maybe a little bit more restricted to just, stay on task and get everything done that you're working on that day. Like if you're in that strict routine of being at home versus if you're in another place, in another at a retreat, then it's just like it's so much easier to like get out of that little headspace of being so productive and everything, not saying you're not being productive at a retreat, but at the same time it's meant to kind of like unleash that creativity and everything.
Totally. And do you think you feed off of other creatives' energy and ideas and things as you're put in that environment?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, there are like so many different things that you can learn from, how you're seeing like other people like with different angles and everything. One thing in particular that comes to mind right now that makes me kind of like laugh a little bit is the like Jordan at the last one, she kept noticing like how much I was on the ground. And like before, like prior years, I was just like, why would somebody want to take like a photo like from the ground? And then I did it like myself like a few times like leading up and I was like, oh. Oh, this is why. Okay. That actually makes sense now. And that was something that I had learned from, previous attendees and everything. So yeah, definitely.
Totally. And I think that's such a huge thing. Anytime I've attended a content day or a retreat, a lot of times I'm thinking, oh, interesting how they, this photographer would pull some of the curtain in the hotel
Mhm.
room in front of her lens. And I thought, interesting. Never would have realized that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, shooting more like above angles. Oh, okay. I normally wouldn't really do that. So it's just kind
Mhm.
of those things where you can feed off each other. And sometimes it's not even those planned things. I've had attendees teaching each other different settings and whatever in their camera. And it's like these unplanned things that just you get a bunch of creatives in a room. You don't know what's going to happen. Crazy things are going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just the way that different creatives think and getting to see, oh, wow, that's so interesting. And you can, kind
Mhm.
of run with that and be like, hey, and I also know this little hack or whatever, and you
Yeah,
guys can go at her. So that's super cool.
absolutely.
I love that. So how do you think these retreats support more like long-term growth and success, and
Mhm.
it's not just a feel-good weekend?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say with that one, I mean, as cliche as it might sound again, literally because you are the host and you have been there starting out shoes whereas other people who might, not saying it's everyone, but some people who try and host a retreat, they have no idea what they're doing. They don't really know how to provide a solid experience, like they haven't like been through like every like so many different stages of growing your business like you have in like helping other boss babes grow their business as well. And so I feel like that alone just makes it, different than like anything else, honestly.
Mm, yeah, I love that. I think again that kind of puts the more experience somebody has in doing something, the more trust you can get. So even the same goes for shooting weddings. Who wants to hire someone that's never shot a wedding before? I think
Mhm.
that is the
Exactly.
exact same for a retreat. It's
Yeah.
my first group of ladies that took a chance on me. It was, very much a way bigger risk because it's like, okay, let's see what happens, like she can do business coaching, but can she do the in-person thing, which I would say are
Yeah.
completely different ball games, right? So
Mhm.
that's super cool to hear. Love it. Love it. That's
But
awesome.
you master both of those, so
What's that?
did you master both of those? So
I don't know about that. You gotta always be growing. But I appreciate it. It's definitely a lot of fun, and I think a lot of my passion that comes from that is just seeing what people are actually capable of, where
Yeah.
they might think they're capable of. Like I remember when I first spoke to you and you were like, "Oh, I don't know if I could ever like, get like a paid shoot, but I'm kind of like trying to figure this out and whatnot." And I was like, "What?" Like, what do you mean? And now you're, blowing up the business. You're contracting like 7K in a month. Like you're doing these massive things that if I would have asked you on our first discovery call if you thought you could do those things, you would have been like, "No, you're insane, lady."
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see that level of growth. I think that's so cool. Yeah,
For sure. I was a totally different person when you met me back in 22, honestly.
I agree. I barely recognize you without sounding cliche. So, kind of switch gears here. What would you say to someone who's maybe feeling guilty or selfish for prioritizing themselves in this way to come to a retreat like this? It's very much an experience, you are kind of, putting yourself first in that, investing in yourself, all of that good stuff. Like what would you kind of say if somebody does have that in the back of their mind of like, "Oh, I don't know if this is like a good idea." Like what would you kind
Yeah.
of say to that?
I mean, honestly, I would say, get that notion out of your head. Because
Okay.
if you really seriously truly like want to be able to really grow your business, you are gonna have to be able to invest in yourself and your business because they go together. You're the ones running your business. And not saying, you can't grow your business like without doing like investment in yourself and your business, but if ideally, you want to be one of the ones that actually makes it like work as a small business owner, because so many small business owners, between like 3 to 5 years or not even like making it that far, they decide this is too hard, like I can't do it anymore, because they didn't have the proper help to begin with, they decide to quit. Whereas, if you really want to truly make it like in running a wedding photography business, then I would say it's definitely worth it to put that extra investment in to make sure you're getting the knowledge a lot easier than, for example, like spending hours and hours and hours, if not years, honestly, on YouTube, trying to like figure everything out for yourself when you can just go and learn from somebody else who has already been right where you are, like in your shoes, and they can help you grow in that area.
Totally. No, that's super good. I think, a lot of times people can feel a little bit that way of, "Oh, is this a good idea?" But I love how you put that. I think that's super good for people to, kind of take that into account, and cool to hear from someone that has done that not only once but several times, right? So
Yeah, I mean, we're about to be at number 4 in November, so
100%. So crazy. And then number 5 come June. So
for sure.
pretty wild stuff. But
Yeah.
um on that note, why do you keep coming back? Would you say like a retreat, you could, go to one, get your content, dust your hands and say, "I got what I need here," and kind of move on. I love that you come back. Why do you come back?
I mean, like literally the experience that you put on, it's unmatchable. Like I said earlier, like you literally pour your heart and soul into it. And you do everything you possibly can to make sure, everything's going to run smoothly. And I mean, you even have backup plans, if everything doesn't exactly like go as according to plan, because sometimes things will happen like that.
Mhm.
And I don't know, you really prioritize like every single attendee's experience. And it's not just like, oh, I did it once, so I don't ever have to do it again. The
Mhm.
more and more you do it, the more and more you invest into your business, like the farther you're going to be able to take your business. Because
Mhm.
it's not always going to be the exact same people that are there every single time. It might be a few of the same people, but it's not going to be the exact same people for attendees. And so there's always going to be more things that you can be learning from those people who are attending, and even, yourself as you get farther and farther into running your business and doing more retreats, you start gaining more and more knowledge that you can share with like all of your attendees. So it's not just like a one and done thing, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, totally makes sense. So for you, it's you're kind of noticing, hey, every single retreat I do is helping and improving me substantially in my business. That, like, if you were to stop, you would kind of be like, oh, but then, I will be going more like stagnant instead of like jumping forward
Mhm.
in the success of your business.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I will say though, I probably like the Iceland one, yes, that one was definitely an easy yes because I know, you're the one that's doing it. But that one has been a dream of mine for a while.
Right. You
So
had
at the moment,
previously
like I
signed
kind of,
up, right?
what was that?
What year was that? You previously had signed up for
Yeah, I had previously signed up for one actually, it would have been last summer.
last summer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So summer of 24.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
I'm honestly like it was just honestly a God thing that that one didn't work out because now I can go with you, someone I actually know, and get an even better experience than I would have gotten with that one.
Totally. Guarantee my models will be better. Oh, no, I don't know actually, but I will say the models for Iceland are fantastic. So I'm super excited. It's going to be amazing. I was actually just working on that itinerary. I'm like, oh, every time I like work on it, I'm just like extra hyped. It's gonna be so good. Yeah, you're right. I think Iceland, probably easier, yes, because
Mhm.
it's, amazing bucket list location. You're like, hey, if I can, expand that into more of your travel portfolio
Yeah.
and get some unique content, that's, yeah, totally makes sense. Love it. Yeah, how much of the location would you say is a factor for you when deciding whether you're going to attend?
Um, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say it's a huge portion of it. I mean, yes, you definitely have some killer locations picked out for Iceland, which I'm so excited about. But I mean, in terms of like, past Boss Babe retreats, like every single one minus this year has all fully been at Fraser River Lodge. And I mean, obviously I kept coming back like regardless of it being in the same spot because I knew that like every single year, you were constantly doing whatever and everything you possibly can to make it the best experience possible. Like it wasn't, just oh, you're gonna come and it's gonna be the exact same thing again. No, it's like you can always, know that you're gonna get something different and it's gonna be an even better experience, like with everything that you're learning each year you're doing it.
Totally makes sense. And I think that's part of my reasoning for not just doing like a carbon copy. Because me
Mhm.
as a business owner, it'd be a bit easier to just be like same models, same dresses, same
Mhm.
this, same that. But I know that about 30% of my clientele are repeat retreat
Mhm.
attendees. So that's where it's like, okay, I have to make sure I get, creative and do different things and different shoots and whatnot, because otherwise it's like, okay, again, like these guys again,
Mhm.
really? So no, that's super cool to hear. Location sounds like it's just not really a huge factor. You're like, hey, I want more the experience, and I
Yeah.
know that, the content's going to be different, so it's not a huge factor for you.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I would say location is like a small part of it. And it's definitely, a plus to have like such epic locations that you choose for every single one. But it's not like the ultimate deciding factor of I'm gonna do it or I'm not gonna do it.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. No, I love that. Cool. Yeah, I was curious on that. So I am wondering from you, like, if someone is sitting on the fence and you're talking with them, excuse me, what's one thing you wish that they knew that really happens at a boss babe retreat?
I mean, you literally walk away with like knowing that you just even though it's never a weekend, even though it always feels like it is. You literally walk away knowing that like you had like one of the best weekends you could have possibly had. You made so many incredible memories. You're walking away with friendships that are going to last literally a lifetime. And even if, you live in different states or you live in a different country from whoever, you became friends with while you were there, you can walk away knowing that even those people who are in a different country are still, they're going to be following along with you, like they're going to be cheering you on, like they're going to be, hyping you up and everything. And not only that, but like if they see, someone inquiring for something, then they might just, you know, send that person your way and like recommend that person to you, knowing like I'm not in that location, but I actually know someone really incredible who is. Because
I
I've
think
I've
you've
had
had
that
that.
happen from yeah, I've had that happen from a few of past attendees.
I was gonna say, I see past BBR alumni tagging people everywhere. I see people meeting up, like doing
Mhm.
second shooting, doing
Yeah, I
associate
mean, I yeah,
shooting.
I literally just met up with past BBR alumni like a month ago, or not even a month ago, like 3 weeks ago now, something like that.
Totally. And a month before that, she was meeting up with Megan and they were doing some second shooting together. And I'm like, this is just like so cool to see. Everybody's getting connected and
Mhm.
it's not like cool, nice to meet you. It's like, no, people are actually pursuing these
Yeah.
friendships, which is super cool.
Yeah, it's not like, yeah, okay, I met you, while we were here, but I'll never see you again. No, it's actually, it's everyone intentionally being like, how can we meet up and see each other again and hang out? Like, how can we make that happen?
100%. Yeah, which I think is, really cool that that's actually a factor when it comes to it. So,
Yeah, because
super
you
cool.
generally, with anything else, you wouldn't normally see that. So.
Yeah, totally. Totally. That's awesome. Love it. So, just before we wrap up here, is there anything else you would love for people to know when it comes to retreats, or maybe something like you recently discovered at one, or anything else on your mind when it comes to going to a retreat? Like anything else you want to share?
I think the only other thing would be, and I think I've shared this with you a few times, but I'm gonna bring it back because I don't think I've said this at all yet for this one. Is that
Sure.
like if you take away like literally take away everything but the actual like community side of everything, I would still honestly feel like it's 100% worth it to come out for it each year because that side and aspect of it is like there's literally no words to describe how amazing and beneficial that is and
That
just
side and
how
aspect
many
of
more
it.
memories you can make with it. And
Mhm.
so it's like take everything else away and that's the only aspect left and it's still an experience that you're not going to want to miss out on.
Yeah. No, that's so awesome. I think that's, everything you're saying, I was like nodding. I'm like, yeah, that's so sweet. No, obviously, I think, it is a really, really big decision when it comes to attending a retreat. So I'm really glad that, you've been to several. It's nice that you can give your insight and your expertise when it comes to that. Quinn still has you beat, but
I didn't realize you had me beat by that many.
yeah. So she dropped a comment. She said, "Can't rave enough about Esther's retreats. I've been to 5 and have already 6 and 7 booked with her. So
Okay.
I think by Sandpiper that'll be 7. She's already on the wait list for the one I'm launching on Monday. So Monday, August 11th, I'm launching a wait list. And Quinn is already on it. She literally never misses out. I'm like, man, Abigail, you got to catch up to Quinn. That's the bar. Just kidding,
Yeah,
but
it's a pretty high bar to set right there.
Quinn is just like gets on a plane without thinking and she's like, I'm
Hmm.
off. Like I love the commitment. It's amazing. Jeremy dropped a comment in quotes that says, when I said, is there anything else you want to share? And he's like, that Jeremy wants to come. So we're getting some good comments. So
Yeah, I still feel bad for him on that, but at least, he got to go to Banff with you. So,
exactly. And that
yeah,
one
he's
was
got that.
super incredible. So yeah, I mean, retreats, I used to have the mentality of, one per year is good. And now, this year alone, we've got 4. I've got PEI coming up next month. Yes, Quinn is signed up for that one as well, which is awesome. She's just like, and actually she comes out for shootouts as well, which is amazing. But PEI, then we've got Iceland, then we've got Sandpiper, we've got Ireland. So yeah, it's wild the amount of retreats. They're just so fun. I like go and
Yeah,
others
I
like
don't know how, yeah, I don't know how you put on so many so many a year. Because yeah, I do remember when you first started and you were like, yeah, no, this was a lot, and I'm only ever gonna be able to do like one a year. I was like, that's
Mhm.
fair.
Yep.
And now look at you.
Yeah, I know. I had a bit of a change of heart because for one, they are so fun to plan, and for two, there's a lot of different locations I wanted to dive into and offer
Yeah.
just for some different pieces. And to be honest, I don't even know if PEI was like a top of my radar, but I had so
Mhm.
many people messaging me, please come out east, do one out, and I was like, why not? I mean, I think that it's gonna be amazing. But it's just kind of funny. I'm like, people will like submit their requests. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's go there. Yeah,
Love it.
just dope. So, amazing. So, Abigail, thank you for joining me today. Where can people find you on socials? Where can they hit you up?
Yeah, it is Abigail Rose Gallery on literally everything, so it's super easy.
Super easy. What app are you most active on?
Instagram and TikTok these days, honestly.
Instagram and TikTok. Okay, amazing. I mean, I would foresee us doing some sort of live kind of fun on one of those apps in the
I
future.
mean, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I officially actually have access to my face actually being shown on TikTok Live now. So,
Epic. Okay, then we're definitely doing that. So, guys, you can tune in there for a future interview with Abigail at some time in the near future. But for now, thank you so much, Abigail, for being on here.